just leads me what I was going to ask. When you were working with Patrick and Fraser Hines, they had a reputation for pranks back in their day. Was there a lot of that happening when you guys were filming with them?
Yes, it was, because Patrick and Fraser knew each other well, and their relationship was a kind of jokey, pranky one, and they brought that with them. And Fraser used to tip Patrick out of his wheelchair, which sounds like a terrible thing to do, but Patrick, of course, is not normally in a wheelchair, and therefore it wasn't as bad as it sounds. Had he been a man in a wheelchair, it wouldn't have been very nice. And we had a couple of days in Seville where there had been problems with the wigs which had gone missing, so we couldn't film for the first couple of days. So we had fun and frolics in the pool and out in the evening for dinner, and it was just very nice. And I can remember one joke we played on Nicola, which was the very last shot in the studio, was the shot where Shock Eye has prepared Peri for dinner, and Fraser and I rushed in to rescue her, untied her, she was unconscious, chucked a bit of water over her to wake her up, and it wasn't my idea, as you might guess. Someone came up with the idea of filming it, getting it dead right, cup of water, Nicola's face, wake her up, and then saying, no, we need to shoot that scene again. And the second time we did it, it was a bucket of water. And everybody had colluded, and we chucked a bucket of water over Nicola, who, true to the thespian tradition, carried on as if it was perfectly normal and acceptable, like a trooper. And that was our kind of final joke, wasn't it? Do you remember that?
It was wonderful, as you probably well know from all our anecdotes. You never get a second take as an actor. The Daleks, the Cybermen, the explosions, the cameraman, even the boom operator, if he's in, you get a second take, but an actor never gets a second take. So in this particular scene we were filming, we had to get it in before supper, and we'd done one take. There was only time for one more. And when Gary Downey, he was on the floor at the time, as the production manager, said, we're going again, I said to him, why? Because you need to check it's not something you've done wrong. He said, no, technical reasons. So I knew there'd been some kind of technical problem. So there I am, lying on the table, doing my slightly unconscious sort of acting with my mouth slightly open. And the next thing I know, I hear Colin and Fraser come in, they're doing their little scene, I'm expecting a couple of drops of water. Whoa! And I'm drowning, because my mouth was open. And I've swallowed all this water, and I'm coughing and I'm spluttering. And all I can think of is, I must say my lines, because we have to get this taken before the end of this 6 o'clock, when they pull the plug out. So unfortunately, they were all kind of hoping that I would go and swear and go, what on earth is going on and stuff. But instead, I just coughed and spluttered and tried to say my lines. And then we exited, and everybody was in on it. I mean, Peter Davison was even in the gallery, wasn't he? Because he was next door, and he'd come in. Loads of people, everybody was in on it. And as we were exiting the scene, I could see people laughing. And then I turned around and I saw Colin's face and Fraser's face, and they were killing themselves laughing. And I suddenly realised, oh my goodness, that was a prank. At which point I think they turned the cameras off, which is jolly good, because what I said and followed, I'm glad they didn't record. But we did, that's a perfect example of how we did have a lot of fun and we had a lot of pranks, but we could never do anything that would risk the filming, because we were very tight for time. Oh, just to say also, Fraser did have like a trick pen and a variety of things he brought to the rehearsal room, didn't he? Squirty pen. He had a pen, yes. He hid my pen in the rehearsal room, so I was going to make some notes. And I always use the same pen, and I was with my pen, and I'd just been given a note to write down where my character and I couldn't find a pen. He said, oh, borrow mine. The minute I put the pen to the paper, it squirts up in your face. He was, you know, he was a born clown, really. Hello.
Yes. Will the sixth Doctor and Peri ever come back into the new series of Doctor Who? Because I would love to see that happen.
That's very sweet, and I think we would love it too. But I think it's probably unlikely, because I think the new series is very much focused on their journey ahead. But one, as Colin so rightly says, can never say no.
Yes, every experience one has had with Doctor Who would lead one to believe that once gone, that's it. And to be fair, I mean, Nicola does look much the same as she did 600 years ago when we did it. I, however, have adopted a new persona, which is radically different. So it would be very odd to have us coming back. I think it's very unlikely. But you never, what will we do in Big Finish, of course? Big Finish is Doctor Who. So there's an awful lot of the Doctor and Peri Big Finish audios, and if you haven't ever experienced the joy of a Big Finish audio, I recommend them because our adventures continue. And the sets are bigger and better, the monsters are scarier, the villains are scarier, the women are prettier, and the men are much more handsome on audio.
Well, I'd like to see you come back as a different character. I think that'd be quite fun.
That would be interesting, yeah, I'd do that like a shot. Come back as a different character, yes.
I mean, if Peter Capaldi can do it, then why not?
Yeah, I'm up for it.